Okay, y'all, it's dinner time. And for some insane reason, after knowing I was going to spend 3 hours outside doing brick and mortar work today, I decided to make one of the most difficult dinners I make. So I've had a bread loaf rising for this afternoon. I buy a frozen pre-made bread roll. It's super easy. You just take them out of the freezer, leave it out at room temperature, and it rises. No fuss. I'm about to clean and cut up this cabbage, and then it will be cooked with ground turkey, and then we are going to stuff it into the bread and bake it in the oven. So here we go. Okay, so cabbage has been cleaned, got all the icky stuff off, cut in half. I'm going to slice out that core and then finally chop the cabbage head. Okay, done with the cabbage. I got my pan basically full. Ended up using about 3/4 of the cabbage, so I have this little piece I'll use for a little cabbage salad for myself tomorrow. So I'm going to generously season this with Old Bay seasoning. Generously, do not skimp. If you don't like spicy stuff, maybe not use Old Bay, but I was at least put a good amount of garlic powder, onion powder, and some paprika in there. And let the cabbage begin to wilt. Once it's about half the size, I'll add in the ground turkey until that's browned. Okay, we got her on the oven now. We've got our cabbage, we've got our Old Bay, some minced onion, mixed garlic, and I add a little bit extra paprika. It's on a medium heat, so I'm just going to keep stirring and letting it wilt down until it gets, again, about half of that size. Okay, so this is what you're looking for. As you see, the cabbage is about half the size it was before. It's released a lot of its water. It's kind of wilted and soft, so it's not going to overtake the pan whenever I add in the ground turkey. Now at this point, if you would like to use ground beef, that is fine. Like I said in the last video, we have a kiddo who's allergic to the entire cow. So we use meat and dairy alternatives for everything. So I use the Genio ground turkey. And I'm just going to add it into the middle of the pot and get it to where it is browned. And then we will go on to the next step. Okay, this is what you want to see. You're done with the stovetop. You've got your cabbage is nice and translucent and wilted, and the meat has got a nice light brown on it. So we are now going to take this off of the stove and begin getting it into our bread. At this time, you'll want to go ahead and get your oven preheating to 350 degrees. Okay, now we are going to get our bread. I use one of these silicone mats. If you don't have one, that's fine. I made this for the last 15 years without a silicone mat. You'll just want a couple extra sets of hands to get your bread onto your baking dish afterwards. So I'm going to get the bread rolled out, and then we're going to stuff it. Okay, so we have our bread rolled out. I did it to the size of the mat. If you don't have one, you want it, it's about 1.5 by 1.5 feet there. And we're going to take our mixture and give it a little shake. I'm using a slotted spoon so that not all the juice comes in, because we don't want the bread dough to get soggy. Which is why we cooked our cabbage down really well before we cooked. That way the moisture doesn't get released into the bread. So I do a couple good scoops there. Good and filled in. And then we'll do one initial roll. So take this edge and push it over and pinch. Take this edge, push it over and pinch. And then in the middle, do the same. So we've got a little seal there. Don't worry, doesn't have to be perfect. And then we get some more of our cabbage and beef mixture, and we're going to put it up right next to that seal. Keep filling it in all the way. Just trying to keep it nice and tight up against this part here. I do put a little bit more in this second row than the first, just because I want the first part to cook really well and thoroughly. So I do make the second layer just a little bit thicker than the first. Good layer in there. Okay, now you're going to take your other side of your dough. And this one you do want to get a good seal on, that way you don't explode in the oven. So take a little bit more time on this side. Get your ends sealed up really nice. And then pull your middle over. Just kind of give it a little pinch to the dough. That way she closes up nice. Little pinches, little pinches. If a little bit opens up in the oven, that's going to be fine. It won't be the end of the world, but you do want to try to get as tight of a seal there as you can. All right, and this is the point where if you don't have one of these silicone mats, you absolutely want to get some help from anybody you can in your house, because picking this up to transfer, I can't tell you how many times I made a huge mess. So if you needed, I used to have the kids, everybody put their hand under a little bit and 1, 2, 3 lift. If you have one of these silicone mats, it makes it a lot easier. Just gently get her over onto the pan. And now we'll just wait for the oven to finish preheating, and we'll put her in the oven at 350 until the bread is good and golden brown.
Mama to come back out. And he's shutting it again.
What are you doing, little helper? All right, here we go. We're out of the oven. We're going to let her set for about a minute or two and then cut it open. Beautiful. Christian, what are you doing?
Trying to look at the camera.
Okay. Do you want the butt cam?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.